If I want to be free, I got to be me. That's a quote from Bob Proctor, and it's so fitting. My name is Greg Dahl, and this will be the first of many videos to tell my story and my journey into how I became who I am today. I believe it's going to give some great insight to many of you that are struggling with narcissistic relationships, struggling with business bankruptcies, struggling with depression, struggling with self-esteem, struggling with getting into a disciplined routine. I think it all started for me in around 2017. I was in a very caustic, toxic relationship, and I was going out of my mind. I didn't know a lot about narcissism at all. So I had to go where we all go, YouTube. And I looked up toxic relationships. And I had to go through quite a few videos until I came across a channel called The Royal We. And this gentleman went into detail about narcissism and living with a narcissist, which I was. They don't change. You have to get out of that relationship. And it took me quite a bit of time to leave that horrible situation, that loveless, toxic relationship, to start this journey to a whole new life. And I believe that there's a lot of young folks out there that need someone to plug into and perhaps follow someone who's gone on a journey. I'm 57 years old. I've lived through a lot. And I have a lot more to share in future videos. I've gone through more pain than you can shake a stick at, but came through the other end. And my mechanisms of coping weren't always the best and healthiest. I didn't know what I know today back then, or I would have plugged into a lot of the communities that I'm a part of right now through Alex Hormozi's school group and Andy Elliott Elite University and the Macklin Twins and some of the people that have spurred me on to make this video, to get out of my comfort zone, because I've always been a content person and writing down brain dumps and nuggets and things to help others, tell them a bit about what I went through. Maybe it'll resonate with them, and just know that you're not alone. And if you've gone through toxic, narcissistic relationships and you think you're going crazy, you're not. You just need to inform yourself on what you're dealing with, who you're dealing with, and find an escape plan and a way to leave. And it doesn't matter what they think. So, and there's so much more to it. I was a business owner recently that just went through a business bankruptcy. That was the hardest thing I've ever gone through. And I lost my mother, my father, my brother within 18 months in 1991. In 95, my wife at the time left me for another man with 2 small children. So I lost my house, I lost my family, I lost my wife, I lost my kids. This is like a fucking country song, and a real bad one. But you know what? I got through it all. And I learned through listening to authors like Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. I'm not a big reader. So I go online, and he's, in his own words, made his own recordings of his entire book, where if your mind can believe and conceive, your mind can achieve. And that's so true. But it's about goal setting and how important goal setting is. And then watching a documentary called The Secret, and noting that Bob Proctor was in there with his law of attraction. And then finding videos about what to do and how to manifest future memories, and how to create yourself in your mind this life that you wish you had. And I started to do that, but you first got to write it down. And I wrote it down on a little piece of paper about a year before I left. And I wrote down what I wanted in my future life. I wanted to be loved. I was in a loveless, horrible relationship. I was terribly out of shape. And I wanted to feel what it's like to be loved again. And as odd as that might sound, I thought I was doomed to that life of solitude with a beast. And through learning, I got the courage to leave that relationship. And it's not just women who leave relationships. It's men who do as well. There are men out there that do as well. And I delved into Earl Nightingale. He's got a video out on YouTube that says, this 20-minute video will change your life. So I put down on there what my future life, what my ideal future life would be, specific goals. I put it on a back of a business card. I have it in my pocket, and I read it every morning and every night. Now I know when you read it every night before you go to bed, you get into a certain theta rhythm where your subconscious picks up what you're programming, and through a connection, when you're in a deep sleep, that connection between your subconscious and God starts creating things that happen in your life that are serendipitous. Phone rings, you're thinking about somebody. Hey, I was just thinking about you and you called me. Well, that's not coincidental. That's on a certain wavelength that's a frequency that you're on. And that other person that you're thinking about picks up that thought and calls you. And they could be on the other side of the globe. So there's so much to the other 95% or the other 90% of your brain that you don't use. That's active, playing movies while you're sleeping. But you can program it because it doesn't know the difference between 10 cents and $1 million. So if you program negative, you're going to get negative. If you say, I never get it right, I never find the right person, I can't lose weight, guess what your subconscious is going to give you? More of what you're telling it. And it's going to give you more negative things. So self-talk, very important. And just so much content to learn out there that it's very empowering to delve into the common denominator of 500 CEOs. And they all know that there's a connection between your subconscious and they call it the universe, or we can call it divine providence. I call it God. I'm a Christian. So I know that God wants us to be miniature creators, to create a better life for ourselves. Use our imagination instead of plugging into this crack that we have on our phones for social media that just rob us of any creativity and time. It's a time bandit. It's a real time bandit. It takes you away from your 24 hours. If you got 24 hours in a day, you sleep for 5 or 6, that I do. You get up early and you have your quiet time with no social media. You have your coffee and you contemplate, you think, you read, you write. Then you work out. And you're doing it all before most people in the world have even gotten out of bed. You have no competition up there when you become disciplined. I learned that all through the elite sales university. And gosh, I was so reluctant, and I was pissed off, and because I got corrected, and my ego took a real bruising, and I had to self-reflect. Like I went out and I turned on it for about 10 days, and I recognized that I needed to change. Nothing changes if nothing changes, and I knew I had a lot of changing to do. So this is my introduction to you on my journey, and there's just so much of me, and there's so much of the specific traumas that I've gone through that I know I can help so many people avoid and navigate through, where life might seem hopeless, and it's far from it. It's far from it. We are so much more than we think we are. And I just wanted to take this time to say hello to all those folks that I've met through the school group, and John and Brandy and Ian Kirk, who really motivated me to do this video, my first video. So Ian, I did it. Much more to come.